everyone, we are back again. We are once again sharing another outstanding video with you guys. Keep an eye out for the full video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and click the bell icon to get all our latest videos. In today's video, we mainly aims to provide a unique experience. So if you are looking for a documentary kind of thing, like a documentary about Australian war heroes who perished in war or Australian military history, this video is for you. Now guys, I'm going to give a little bit of introduction about this place. This place called Running Rabbits Military Museum. This place is located at the Upwey Belgrave RSL and has been named in recognition of Kokoda campaign. When we talk about this name, Running Rabbits, so there's a beautiful story behind this name, guys. The name Running Rabbits comes from an insult beloved to Australian soldiers by their commander, saying that they had been beaten in battle and the rabbit that ran away is the rabbit that got shot. The men were indignant at this comment by their superior officer, and so the museum is so named to throw their bravery back in his face. There are over 2,400 items of memorabilia, photographs and artifacts on display, and a library of books and magazines available too. The museum will be educate and entertain all ages and take them on an emotional journey through time and learn about Australia's important role in various wars.
G'day, welcome. Rowan's my name. I'm one of the volunteers here, and this is Graham. And this is the Running Rabbits Museum at Upwey Belgrave RSL, and it's the only credited museum in the whole of Australia, RSL museum, with Museums Australia. And we're set out, we've got a lot of stuff here. A lot of it's given by volunteers, and we're all volunteers. So would you like me to just take you around?
Yes.
We'll have a bit of Navy's here and the pre-Federation. This is the HMAS It's a minesweeper. The actual ship is down in Williamstown, the full-size one. We've got the sea mine out the front. So this is pre-Federation and the early part of Australia's military history. War. All original. There's Queen Victoria's chocky box for the soldiers in 1900. The chocolate's past its use by date, I think. and we're Maori Wars, and then we come on to the First World War. The classic here is our light horseman. So these are facsimile uniforms. This is from the First World War. He's got his jodhpurs for his horse. This is to carry his 303 ammunition, and he's got his khaki fur felt made of rabbit skin, rabbit fur, and he's got his kangaroo feathers, as they used to say. They said that to the French to confuse them. It's actually emu feathers. Mounted infantry, they used to sort of ride into battle and then come off their horses to fight. And of course at Gallipoli, they left their horses in Egypt, and they were massacred. The light horse were massacred on the neck in 1915. And then we come this way and have a look at the nurse's uniform from the First World War. So this is First World War. Wonderful dioramas here. This is produced by a very talented man. This is the landing at Gallipoli in 1915.
1950.
Yeah, 1915, 25th of April. That's probably the day after. 3 years later, we have the Battle of La Hamel, which was the 4th of July 1918, the first time the Americans were in the field under Australian command. And this is the guy, Sir John Monash. And he was a truly great Australian. He was Orthodox Jewish. His parents were German. He was an engineer. He was a lawyer. And he was head of the Australian Corps in 1918, the head of the Australians in the First World War. First chairman of the SEC, died in 1931, one of the biggest funerals that Melbourne has ever seen. He was a Melbourne man. But he actually suffered from a lot of anti-Semitism in his rise to fame. And he, just through sheer ability, he rose to the top, and he was the last soldier knighted by a king in the field, King George V, in 1918. Hadn't been happy for 200 years. So really amazing. And so this is the battle, and he coordinated the battle to save lives, basically. So the Australians lost very few casualties, and it was a total victory. So, because he was had an engineer's view of it, and it was to save lives, to actually use combined. So I hope I'm not boring you too much.
No, not at all.
So we've got over here, this is a machine gun captured in 1918 called a Maxim, and it's a rate of fire of 600 bullets a minute. And they're the bullets, each one will take your leg off. So the poor old Germans lost this in the battle, and that's a German machine gun team with gas masks, poison gas. We've actually got a gas mask from 1917 over here. The active ingredient is asbestos in the box respirator. So yeah, it's amazing. All this stuff's original, of course. So we've got all sorts of things on the wall. And a Victoria Cross, got a little Victoria Cross here, which is that's a miniature. That's the medal.
So this is the medal, yeah?
Yeah, the top one. Far harder to get than a Congressional Medal of Honour. The attack at Gallipoli up the top there, that's Will Longstaff. And then we've got the men engaged at midnight, the dead Australians marching at midnight, painted in the 1920s. That's Will Longstaff. So the originals in the Australian War Memorial. The Australian, so this is basically in Egypt in Gallipoli during the First World War. Our dioramas are amazing. So over here, the Australian Front, 1916 to 1918. The resin, he's used resin for the, and there's
tell them it's real water. We've got to balance it when we're
it's not real water. And we've got, stretcher bearers, and then the 60,000 Australian dead in World War I out of a population of 4.5 million. So it was by per capita the highest of any of the Allies. A dead man's penny here for when it's what the poor parents got when somebody was killed. And then the soldier coming back in 1919, the lucky one, and they're getting the telegram and reading that somebody has been killed.
It could have been a month after it happened.
Yeah.
They might still be getting letters from that person.
Took about 6
informing
weeks.
them.
Letters
And
to go.
they could still get a letter
Yeah.
from that person saying that, oh, doing fine, and then they've got a telegram saying, no, you're already dead.
Yes.
Okay. Mother's got the letter, but she's been written to, but she's died of a heart attack or whatever. Just extraordinary. No instantaneous communication, and they had no leave in Australia for 4 years. They didn't come back for 4 years, so quite extraordinary. This is a 75mm captured on the Hindenburg line by the 21 Australians died capturing this, young Australians. It's a Skoda Austrian field gun, and that's battlefield damage from 1918. And this is a wooden copy of the round. It's 75mm. Yellow stripes painted on it, high explosive or shrapnel, different fuses, and out to about 5-6 kilometres. And so with proximity fuses, it would blow up literally over the troops' heads, send out shrapnel like this, or shards, white hot razor sharp supersonic. So it's basically this blows up and it sends that down on the infantry.
Local school?
We'll keep going.
Yeah.
So we've got over here. We've got
So this is Air Force.
Royal Australian Air Force. Yes. Bomber Command. That's an Australian squadron as part of the Royal Air Force. Our Air Force was integrated during the Second World War in Europe, and they stayed there the whole time. Our troops came back from the Middle East to fight in New Guinea.
Yeah.
And so this is the battle for Australia, the Dakota Track. Our soldiers here are stopping the Japanese above Port Moresby. And the 39th Battalion, of course, that's where we get the running rabbits.
Okay.
So it's just wonderful little diorama. You've got pictures of the battle all the way around. And he's actually taken. He actually tried to represent those in the diorama. So the Dakota Track, you've heard of all this stuff a little bit, or
A little bit, not much. That's why I wanted to come.
So here is the best view, I think, and it's typical of the terrible conditions that they fought under. 40 degrees and 100% humidity. And there's the Fuzzy Wuzzy Angel, the Papuan helping the wounded Australian. A very famous photograph, which is right here.
Okay.
So it's based on the actual. So that was the battle for Australia that virtually saved this country, and it was the first, amongst the first defeats of the Japanese in the First World War. Over here. Rifle. That was the main service rifle of the from 1909 to 1959. Or was it 1907?
That one.
This one here.
Yeah.
And these three guys,
Yes.
quite sad, young boys from Belgrave. One family, the Locke brothers, all killed in 1945. 2 on Ambon and 1 in Malaya, from the one family. So it's, you know, you've heard of Saving Private Ryan. Well, this is the real one, and that's the medals. That's their medals.
They are medals.
That were given to the Belgrave RSL by the family. So imagine 3 brothers, the effect on the family. 3 brothers from one family. And they're only in their 20s. Just young boys.
It's very sad sometimes, isn't it?
That's why we're here. This is butterflies from Papua New Guinea, brought back by the Australians here. All this is from the War of the Pacific. And the nurses.
The nurses.
Nurses medals.
And what are those medals?
Oh, different ones. There's the Africa Star, the Pacific Star. There's the the 1939-45. So they're different. They're imperial. We were given in that stage. We were using imperial medals.
These
Yeah. So basically the soldiers are born.
kind of a moth, I think.
Yeah, but it's from Papua New Guinea. It's brought back in. Collected in Papua New Guinea and Sumatra during World War II by a soldier.
Ah.
Oh, 25 pounder over here too. This is the artillery piece. That's a $2,000 model on loan to us. Yeah, so it's a cheap thing to put together. So that was the field gun for, I think it's about 1/6 size or something. I'm not sure. And then over here we've got. So it's set out chronologically. So over here we've got the Korean War and the Battle of Kapyong. The Canadians held back the main Chinese force in 1951 and enabled Seoul to be evacuated. If you have a look in here, I don't know how close you can get. They're the Australians here and the Chinese attacking here. And you've got a little Australian mouse with a flag right in the corner there where my finger is, if you can see him there. I don't know whether it'll pick it up. The guy signed it.
Yes.
Can you see that?
Yeah. It's right here.
Yeah. And all this is sort of from the Korean War, and then we move on to Vietnam.
So these all from Korean War.
The Korean War, 1950 to 1953. And then women in the services. Now we've got
Doctors and nurses, is it?
Yeah, nurses. Australian Women's Army, the Women's Army Service, the AWAS, the Women's Army Service. But of course now we've got one army. The uniforms are all the same, but this was the dress uniform when I was in, and the women hated it. She looks like an ice cream salesman.
It's beautiful.
But now we've got the same, all the same uniforms. Yes, so the only difference is women sometimes wear dresses. Everything else is the same. I think some of the blokes probably too. This earlier, that's the emu plumes, the kangaroo feathers, and that's Prince of Wales Light Horse, the feather dusters. They're an armoured regiment. And then we come to Vietnam. We've got a wonderful diorama of a dust-off, getting the wounded out from Vietnam here.
Vietnam?
Yeah, the Vietnam War. That's an Iroquois, and they're trying to evacuate the wounded.
Who's that?
These are actual photos from just in Phoc Tuy province during the Vietnam War, done by an ex-member here who passed away last year. And you weren't supposed to carry a camera into the field, but Lee did, and we've digitised them. So it's not far from Nui Dat, where the battle of Long Tan, that area, M60 machine gun.
So this all belongs to Vietnam War.
Yeah, and all this is Vietnam too. So
these ones too.
Yeah, M60 machine gun, 5.56mm. The dolls that were given to the Australian Army training team Vietnam before they were given medals from the South Vietnamese government. We've got all sorts of things here. There was a Claymore mine down here too, just here, which is very interesting. Aim this towards the enemy. So it's got Semtex explosive with thousands of ball bearings, and it's electronically detonated. Here we've got a Viet Cong uniform. So they were the local communists from South Vietnam. This is an actual uniform. It's complete with their AK-47 magazine, 30 rounds, and the imitation grenades. And then this is the gear from the North Vietnamese regulars. And peacekeeping here.
Yeah.
And our United Nations. When I joined, this was our uniform. This is the Vietnam era. These are M60 rounds, 50 rounds for the machine gun, 5.56 millimeters. the ammunition pouches carrying SLR magazines, field dressing, everybody carried their own and used it, and 2 water bottles, and just greens, jungle greens, no body armour, but when I got out in 1990, this was our uniform, the Ozcam. Can't see me suit with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. You have a look. And that was our service rifle, the SLR, L1A1.
So that one?
Yeah. Self-sharpening bayonet. It's a cut-down version. They didn't have great holes in them. But absolutely fantastic, accurate, very heavy, and full 7.62 rounds. Of course, the famous photograph from Vietnam of the Australian section getting on the Iroquois helicopter up here. And then the Battle of Coral Balmoral and the Battle of Long Tan. So if you haven't seen Danger Close, the movie, on Netflix, have a look at it. Battle of Long Tan in 1966. So when 11 platoon, 3 RAR, about 10 blokes are pinned down by a couple of battalions of North Vietnamese regulars, and they survive. But they survive eventually by calling artillery 105 howitzers on their own position. And it's called Danger Close. When you do that, you broken arrow, the Americans talk about broken arrow, where you're about to be overrun, so you call the artillery on your own position. And that enabled them to survive. An amazing story. So Danger Close is the movie. Have a look at that if you get a chance. Yeah. And then we come into the Middle East, and we've got this is quite interesting. This is the playing cards with Saddam Hussein. And then of course we've got the IED dog over here with the engineers looking for improvised explosive devices with the Australian engineers out the front in Afghanistan. So much here, we're just really scratching the surface. 120mm rounds for the Abrams tank, APDS round, which is anti-tank. The Savo goes through the enemy tank, supersonic speed, detaches, and kills the crew. This is a model, of course. And then everybody's got the same uniform now. Female soldier here with Ozcam, and this is Digicam, which is an American pattern, which we wore in the Middle East.
What's that one?
That's a Nulka, which is a ship to air anti-missile. So it sends up chaff to stop the enemy missile hitting the ship. And then communications, all the rest. That's about it, I think. We've just about covered it.
So these are all the communication.
So if you've got any questions, yeah.
Not really.
We've even got our Morse code here this is from earlier times. And a theodolite from ship to ship.
Okay. 24 hours to learn Morse code, and then you can go and leave.
That's right.
You've got to be able to send a message at 30 words a minute.
And Russell actually works here. He's one of the volunteers, and he was with the Royal Australian Air Force during the Vietnam War, and he can still do it at that speed. So quite amazing.
So these all are communication systems,
yes. This was our radio when I was in. This is the AMPRC set, which is as heavy as blazes, hard to set up, and really annoying to use. And of course now we just use these things.
But at that time you were carrying everything.
That's right. 30 or 40 kilos.
My goodness.
Plus extra. So this is the current
ones.
Yeah, which is
not very heavy and
all digital. So that's, and I suppose that's about it. We've got Trenchard here. Here he comes. This is Russell. He's one of our exhibits.
I'm sorry.
We keep him in one of these cases during the week, but we let him out on the weekends if he behaves himself. Which is not very often. The roof, you get a prize. First prize is 1 night out with Russell. Second prize is 2 nights out with Russell. So So all the flags are really interesting. So the one in the corner you won't see
Yep.
anymore. That's the South Vietnamese flag.
Yeah.
We've got the UN flag was flown in Afghanistan. Yeah.
Oh.
This was flown in East Timor by the Australian contingent. The UN flag.
This is
Australia. Yeah, that's the Australian ships. Any merchant ship that's that Australian flies the red ensign is different to the blue ensign up there.
But it used to be interchangeable. They used blue, and originally when we were federated, the blue was the official one, but then they could use the red ensign
flag
until 1951, and then it was changed. This is an interesting one over here. This is the Free French flag.
Graham, gun safe, Sam.
No worries, thank you.
See you later.
Free French flag from the Second World War.
oh, this one.
So yeah, they were the ones that continued fighting, the French that continued fighting, and the Vichy French collaborated, of course, with the Germans. This is the Imperial German flag from the First World War. It's probably the oldest one here, and we've got the Turkish flag in the corner, and of course our white ensign for the Navy just up here. 1967 it came in. So it's going to be long on YouTube, isn't it?
Yes.
Will you edit it? I hope.
But it's so nice.
So 99% boredom in the trenches, 1% terror. But while they're waiting around, they're making stuff for relatives and to sell. The best story, whether it's true or not, it should be true, was during the New Guinea campaign in the Second World War, Australians in the bases made counterfeit samurai swords out of truck springs and sold them to the Americans. So,
Really?
There's a lot of stories you hear.
I reckon the story should be true.
They are interesting.
But these are all from, bits and pieces that they've made to give to relatives when they get home, or to sell them because they're bored when they're waiting for them to go into battle or whatever.
Some rings.
So they call it trench art. So there's interesting things there.
Yes.
It's all good. So have you got a bit of ships of the Royal Australian Navy, and the ones that were sunk, it's not all of them, but the ones that were sunk have the poppies next to them. So it's like the Vampire, the HMS Bayes Voyager that was sunk in an accident. Sydney 2 that was lost with all hands in the Second World War. HMAS Waterhen that was sunk in Tobruk Harbour. My father was at Tobruk. He was in the 9th Division. So yeah, it's quite sad. And then at the Armidale at Parramatta, the Armidale story is quite amazing. So the Armidale was sunk by the Japanese at the Battle of Sunda Straits, and they literally ran out of ammunition, and they're firing practice rounds at the Japanese, and the ship's going down, and Teddy Sheehan, an 18-year-old, is on the 20mm cannon trying to save his own mates. He straps himself to the cannon on the deck, and he's firing all the way down as the ship sinks, even when it's below the water, just so he can let his mates get into the lifeboats. And they gave him a Victoria Cross posthumously last year. So Teddy Sheehan. So we've got the picture of it here. So the HMAS Armidale.
So this is.
Yeah, and that's a representation of.
So.
He was already wounded, and he just strapped himself to the. So it's extraordinary. Extraordinary story. And that's our feather duster.
It's all
You
right.
probably don't want that. Not that it works very well. It's plenty of dust there. There's everywhere you look, there's funny things to see. Now, this one's a ripper. We don't know quite where it came from, but these are all the ships sunk off the Australian coast in World War II. And the some sunk in 1940 from German mines in Bass Strait.
So this one.
Oh, no, that was HMAS Castlemaine, and that was a minesweeper in the 40s, actually trying to get mines out of Bass Strait, enemy mines. So German and Japanese mines, even just off the coast of Australia. Quite extraordinary, really.
Because the Germans were laying mines in Australia before the war had been declared.
That's right. Right. First one, 1940, this ship, where is it here? The Nimben, mined on the 5th of December 1940. 7 lost, 7 drowned. That's the Centaur, which was the hospital ship sunk in 1943. My great aunt was a nurse on there and she drowned at sea in 1943. So it's quite amazing. There's so much.
Yes, a lot.
So during the Civil War, you guys would have been just young kids, yes.
Yeah, we born in 1991.
I've got jocks and socks older than that.
There's an artillery shell. The little one. See, at the end of the First World War,
Yes.
when they had to close down all the military factories and everything, all the Germans were dying of starvation because they had no food and they had nothing.
Yeah.
Factories were still there and still equipped and could make stuff, but they weren't allowed to make stuff for the war. So they went and grabbed all the bits and pieces, turned them into cigarette lighters and sold them to the Australian troops. So they could eat. But see, it's not really trench art. It's made by a factory for trench art. Whereas things like that, they're made, and that carving there, a bit of bamboo, they're actual trench art. Made in the field while the troops are bored out of their brain, waiting for something to happen.
We've got our music here today too, I think. So these are interesting. These are current uniforms. That's our current service rifle. The hostile. They're not real. They're actually 3D printed, which is very interesting. You use the 3D printer, but they're fairly identical. We have different displays which is good at different times.
So these all are current ones, eh?
And in here,
yeah.
This is the main part. AK-47 from Vietnam, a number 4 rifle from the Vietnam War. We've got machine guns, all sorts of things at our current service rifle. So this is going to get busier. The music starts to quiet.
No.
It's not available place. It's a big day for us. We've got no volunteering, so
I'm taking that one.
To be afraid, and I'll be yours. With a fundamental knocking on what is God, has made you wish you had been born that shit. With my father masquerade, Lord, I didn't get sincerely.
This video is a tribute to all the soldiers who gave their lives for their country. You will always be remembered. However, I would like to take this opportunity to invite you to this place. Please come and visit this place, guys. That will be a great thing for them, and we will give you all the information you require to get in touch with them, and their open hours. Visit this place and discover a wealth of information about Australian military history. Also, I want to take a moment to express my special gratitude to these incredible gentlemen who are providing excellent service there without any compensation as volunteers. And also, I would like to say thank you again to Rowan. He was our tour guide and they are working as volunteers over there and doing an amazing job. So thank you, Rowan, for welcoming us warmly and explaining everything with great patience. After visiting the museum, you can have some nice relaxed time at RSL Poppy restaurant, which will be next door. Also, they have live music playing over there, and they have pretty amazing range of nice food and drinks, so you can enjoy your drinks and your food while you are listening to nice relaxed live music. And please make sure to spend some time there too. And also I want to tell the staff is amazing over there. They are doing an amazing service. You guys doing an amazing job. They are super friendly and very helpful. So thank you, Team Poppy.